What is up, my friends? If you're looking to put a little muscle behind that low carb hustle, you're in the right spot. This is Nate Palmer back again with Kyle Andrew Tyler, the man with three first names, aka Juicy Cheeks, aka the Tennessee Titan, aka
keep going. I like it.
aka the Danger Cantaloupe. I don't know. I was feeling good about that one.
Yeah,
it doesn't really roll off the tongue.
Tennessee Titan. That's a good one. Yeah. Tennessee Titan, Juicy J. I mean, Juicy Cheeks is clearly like that's just hard to beat that.
It's really undeniable.
And like I have to do squats, right? I have to do things to keep my cheeks juicy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it's a lifestyle I'm living now, so I've adopted it. So yeah, sometimes you have to give yourself a nickname like that, and that might just actually make you do good things, right?
What's the have you had a nickname in life where you were like, this is who I am now?
I've had several. One, I was in high school. This might be TMI, whatever. We're all here to have fun. So my nipples tend to get hard and stay hard a little bit sometimes. Okay.
It's important to know.
Not be weird. But anyway, so in high school, like when everything is like, you're scared of everything. And that was during like when I started wearing tighter shirts, starting feeling good about yourself. Problem is you get a little tight, little nipples coming out, sticking out. So I remember this one guy, and I forget what class it was, like, yo, I'm gonna start calling you Nips. And then he just started calling me Nips in front of everyone. Yo, Nips, which only caused people to now look a little more at my nips and then be like, why are your nips sticking out? Is it cold in here? What's going on? Are you smuggling raisins? And it's just like, at first it was like, cool nickname, cool, kids like me. And then you're like, oh, fuck, I hate this, right? You know what I mean? Like a cool nickname, cool, I'm accepted. But no,
they're just being mean.
Yeah, they're just being dicks. So anyway, yeah.
When I was in middle school, they used to call me Nasty Nate, which is funny because I'm like fresh out of homeschool, parted my hair down the middle, a little bowl cut action. Like people were like, why don't you say swear words? I was like, I would not say a swear word, sir. Thank you for asking. So they called me Nasty Nate. So I kind of did the opposite for me.
So they called you Nasty Nate, making fun of the fact that you're not nasty.
Yeah. And it wasn't until later that I was like, all right, I'll get nasty. Let's get weird.
Yeah. And then you got nasty. That's weird.
And then they were like, we don't want to hang out with you anymore. It's too weird.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't
like sorry, you started this.
Yeah. Right. You can blame them for a lot of things, it sounds like.
Yeah. I blame a lot of people for a lot of things.
That's the only way to get through in life. So
yeah. Victim mentality. You got to adopt a victim mentality right out the gate.
Everyone's doing it, so they must all be right.
Oh man. Today I want to talk about switching gears completely. I want to talk about some of the kind of the journey that a lot of people go on, the phases of fat loss, like from starting a diet and starting a new program, what that looks like, what you're going to experience, some of the symptoms that you feel along the way, and then maybe a quick tip or two, depending on what phase you're in. So I'm curious to know, hey, just drop us a letter, like a quick note and let us know, like, what phase are you in? How long have you been there? What's been going on with that? So we'll talk a little bit about that. I think that's going to be important, but Kyle, in the spirit of talking about high school and middle school and stuff, is it okay if I hit you with a pop quiz?
Sounds like a high school all over again. Yeah, go right ahead.
That's right.
No judgment.
This pop quiz, we're going to call this one is the low carb hustle. Is it bullshit quiz?
Ooh.
We'll find out.
Okay, like a fact or fiction type thing?
Yeah, we'll do a little true or false, little multiple choice.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay. All
right. Number one in your pop quiz. Your body completely digests and absorbs 2 pieces of pizza, standard size pizza, within 4 hours after you eat it. True or false?
Oh, that's hard. 2 pieces of pizza. I'm going to say false.
You're right. It's false.
Yes.
Even at 5 hours, that pizza is still left undigested or not completely digested.
Now, is it true? I heard that, speaking of this, I heard from someone who seemed like very smart, that every time you eat meat, it takes about 2 or 3 days, maybe a week to digest.
Listen, I don't know the actual statistics on that, but that does not sound correct to me.
Right? That's what I thought. I was like, you're telling me I've eaten a lot of meat. That's all
just sitting there rotting in your colon?
Sitting there rotting. So. That just doesn't seem right, but okay, cool.
Anyway, you ever leave meat out on the counter for 2 days? Much less you like leave it in like a bowl of water. Like, I don't know. I don't feel about that if that's happening. And that is completely my opinion.
I really don't want to eat meat now that you're talking like that. That does not sound good.
Yeah, just leaving it like a hot, like
Ooh.
water park slide, just a slab of beef to your intestines. Just go to
That's a
Sunsplash right
cut of
now.
beef,
Just
right?
slap a
Just think that
steak on
cut
the
of beef
side.
on a water park. Like, that's just
I mean, there's probably a
hot
reason.
summer Phoenix day, right? And especially out here. Oh,
Nice hot, maybe
I'm
some
going vegetarian
salmon.
now because thinking about all that just does not sound. Oh, salmon. Oh God. Okay, next question. Where this conversation? Oh.
All right. Having 300 milligrams of caffeine about an hour before exercise burns how many more calories per minute compared to no caffeine intake during cardio? Okay. So if you have 300 milligrams of caffeine, how many more calories per minute are you going to burn during cardio than if you didn't have caffeine? And then I'll give you options. Number one option, 1 calorie per minute. Number two, or B, I guess, 4 calories per minute. C, 5 calories per minute, or D, 11 calories per minute.
So it's extra, right? Not total, extra.
Not total, extra. Yeah. Compared to regular cardio.
I'm gonna have to go with 1. No, yeah, 1.
You're right. You're 2 for 2 right now, bro.
Good, even when I don't realize it.
Yeah, you're just smart, just sharp. You burn 1 extra calorie per minute if you've taken caffeine before. So I think that's an interesting fact, because a lot of people won't take caffeine before cardio because it's actually a vasoconstrictor. So it constricts your blood vessels, and it's not going to allow you to get as much oxygen. So your body has to work a little bit harder. That's where that comes from. So
yeah, it makes sense. 1 calorie. I mean, that adds up though too, right? But I could see potentially people thinking 4 or 5, right? I mean, how many people probably selling some caffeine supplement at GNC being like, take this and you'll increase your caloric burn by 500%, something stupid, right?
totally. I can't wait to start marketing a product. The Low Carb Hustle, fat burn, double your fat burn with this one pill. It's only not 3 easy payments of $99.99.
3 easy payments.
And it's just caffeine.
Just caffeine. You just send them coffee.
Yeah. Congratulations. You win. It's special coffee.
Why don't coffee companies? I'm sure there are. They just sell coffee. They go, it's fat burning coffee.
Well, I bought some like some type of special coffee at Sprouts the other day. Not because it was like, oh, it's amazing, but it was because it was like discontinued. So it was like $2 for a pound of coffee. And I was like, might as well buy this. I don't have good taste. So
yeah.
All right. This was an interesting one. In bodybuilders who are dieting down for a show, how much did their total testosterone decrease leading up to that show? A, 0%, B, 25%, C, 50% decrease in total testosterone, D, 75% decrease in total testosterone.
All the way to show, it's either C or D, I'm guessing. So I want to say C.
Ooh, you're so
D,
close.
is it 75%?
75%. Yeah.
I knew it was high. I wanted to say D, but I was like, I second guess myself. Because that shit ruins your body when you get up on stage.
Totally. And I think that a lot of this, and like, I don't have the exact details on it, but it's probably because they were on a really low fat diet. Most bodybuilders leading up to stage are going to be high protein, moderate carb, really low fats. So, and fat has such a high impact on hormones and testosterone, everything else.
And lower calorie too. I'm sure they're just getting super low calorie for a long period of time.
All right. Last question. Did I say that already?
No, one more.
Let's do one more question.
2 or 3.
All right. True or false? True or false question.
Right.
Rest periods between sets of less than 2 minutes are superior for gaining muscle mass when training. Rest periods below 2 minutes are superior for gaining muscle mass while training. True or false?
I should know this one. Because it's different than strength. I want to say true.
That's incorrect. That is incorrect. For both strength and building muscle, having somewhere that 2 to 3 minute minute rest between sets is going to be superior. So thanks for playing. You went 3 for 5. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
If we take that to its logical, that's a D.
Was there 5 questions? I thought there was 4. Yeah, anyway.
It might have been.
Anyway.
See, that's well, I'm trying to round you up from a 50% to a 60%.
I'm going to call up ASU and get my kinesiology degree back and be like, what the hell? I just failed I look like an idiot on a podcast. Okay.
I think they'll do a refund for that. Probably not worth getting a refund on a degree from like 15 years ago, though.
What are you trying to say?
Trying to say degrees used to be like $2,000. Now they're like 50.
That's true.
That's true. All right. Let's talk about the phases of fat loss though. Okay. So I've really believed that you can break this down. You could break it down easily into like 4 or 5 phases. I'm making it 3 phases just because I think that that's going to make it easier to just kind of conceptualize. And I can lump some of those like intermediate phases into phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So the thing that I want to like make clear about this as we're talking through it is that each phase has a part. And if you're comparing yourself, if you're in phase 2 and you're comparing yourself to someone else's phase 1 or phase 3, all you're going to do with that is just create more feelings of like, I'm not doing it right, you know? And I think that a lot of times we get ourselves all like mixed up and twisted because we look at the magazines where they're showing phase 1 results. This guy lost a lot of weight in a short period of time. Where we're like, yeah, that's true. But like, what else are you not telling us? We compare our like phase 2 lifestyle with someone else's phase 1 results. And we're like, oh, it's not working. I need to change everything. Just as a story about that, I was training a guy in like 2014 or so. And in our first month together, I believe he lost either 48 or 52 pounds. Okay. What is that like? What does that tell you though? Like, what do you think about that?
You asking me or the audience?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Well, I imagine he's probably got a lot to lose in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. I'm
Absolutely.
sure he wasn't 5% body fat, 180 pounds.
No, definitely not. So like, I think that like when we're confronted with statistics like this, we're like, what, how did he do that? Like, what was he taking? Like, tell me more about it. But we don't necessarily think like, okay, this is a person who's never exercised before, tons of inflammation, tons of water retention, and he was 550 pounds, right? Yeah. So dropping 50 pounds in a month was not crazy at all. You know, like we saw 20 pounds off the scale in the first week. It was insane. So like, just kind of making sure that we are taking a critical eye with these things. So we're not like so easily persuaded by supplements and magazines and stuff like that. I just think that's like one caveat I wanted to drop first.
Context always matters no matter what. And a lot of times marketing leaves out context to get you to be like, whoa.
Yeah. And same thing with training too. Like you see a guy who's like super ripped doing stuff on Instagram and you're like, what are you doing for your workout? A better question is, how long have you been working out? How long have you been really consistent with your diet? That's going to give you more information than like, what are you doing for your back? It looks good. And he's like, I'm doing pull-ups, you know? And you're like, I've been doing pull-ups how come I don't look like, you know?
And that's so true. Cause I'm sure you get this a lot. I know I have like that is always the question people ask when you are in shape or when you're losing weight and leaning down. What are you doing? It's always, what are you doing? What are you doing? And you get that from people who are legitimately doing good things, working out, following a diet, but they look at you and go, but I didn't lose that much, right? So I'm glad you said that because it's super important people understand that. Like context is super, super, super important in everything we do, but absolutely in the fact of, because I love, and you're probably the same way when someone asks me, so what are you doing? You just tell them the most boring thing ever, which is probably what you're doing. And they go, oh, wait, you're telling me I have to like work out 4 days a week? I mean, you're not, what? Oh, you're telling me that I can't just eat a box of donuts every morning, right? It's always like, I thought you were taking something to make this easy for you, right?
I got accused of being on steroids on the internet yesterday.
You know what?
I got accused of being on steroids.
From who?
Somebody on a post I made. I'm not mad about it. I did look big in that post. I had just finished an arm day though, and I was wearing a tight shirt. So I was like, I'll take it.
Yeah, you probably got excited when you heard that comment.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. Hell yeah, I'm not, but hell yeah.
But I'll take it. Yeah, accuse me of being on steroids every single day. Yeah. That's my dream.
It's funny. It's like compliments trainers really like. Right?
Yeah.
Are you on steroids? Most people are like, bullshit, I'm on steroids. This is hard work. Trainers like, damn, you calling me big, son? Hell yeah.
You think I'm massive, huh?
It's like when
Funny.
someone says, oh, you're looking skinny. It's like,
Oh,
use me? Oh,
oh,
punch you in the
straight to
face.
the heart.
Right.
Cut me to
Right.
the
Most
quick.
people kill for that. And yet trainers are like, what'd you say? Excuse me?
Skinny.
I won't punch you in the, yeah, skinny.
Funny, when I weighed 240 though, no one ever accused me of being on steroids. It's only now that I'm down at like 200.
You're at 200 right now?
Yeah.
Oh, you're very lean.
Thanks. It's the
240?
steroids.
When did you get to 240?
What's that?
Not to get off topic. When did the hell did you get to 240?
I was 240 in like October 2020. And then from October to April, I cut down. Like that's when like I did the book release and the photo shoot. So I just rolled $1 Million Body Method for like 6 months. Dropped about 38, 40 pounds.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'd like to be 205, but I just keep sticking at 200.
Yeah. Follow-up question. What did you do to lose the 40 pounds?
I basically did that kind of like the style of carb backloading that we talk about all the time, the $1 Million Body Method. Okay. So I'm having high proteins, high fats in the morning, high proteins, high vegetables at lunch, high proteins, carbs, and vegetables for dinner, and then fasting once a week, 4 times per week of training. I was generally going to the gym, and then I was doing 3 times per week of cardio. Generally, like one of those was a long walk. One of them was a incline treadmill walk, that 30-15-3 style. And then one of them was a bike ride with the kids, ride dragging in the trailer. So it wasn't anything crazy, to be honest with you.
Like a lot of work, right?
Not really. Honestly, the work was the food, but you know, like that's just how it is for everybody, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we can kind of go off that example too. Like, so like these are the phases of the fat loss that I experienced as well, kind of in that October, November region. So breaking it up into 3 phases. Phase 1 is what I always consider the hard reset. I think that I differ from a lot of other people in that some people are like, hey, you drink 3 sodas a day. Why don't you just drink 1 soda a day? And like start people off really slowly and just kind of feed them. Like, I don't think that works very well long-term for most people. Most people listening to this are looking for faster results. Most people I talk to are really busy and they get motivated when they see results. They don't get motivated when they're like, great, nothing's happening. It's been a week. I've cut the sodas out. What else am I looking for? So I always think phase 1 is like a hard reset. Is like, you're the most motivated. You've already gone through the journey of like, I've looked in the mirror. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not who I want to be. I need to make a change. So coming off of kind of that moment, I think we're always the most motivated. We're more motivated than we're going to be for a while. So let's ride that momentum into a hard reset and make some big changes that are going to really pay off. Like get your 50 pounds off, whatever that looks like for you in that first month. So I think there's a couple of symptoms that I see as a, like in this. Okay. So like you're in phase 1, you're doing a hard reset. You've already gone through the journey of knowing you need to change. You're going to be highly motivated. You're motivated to take the next step, get back in shape. You know, you're going to be interested in doing research. You're going to be looking at different accounts on social media. You're going to be following different people who may have different opinions or the same opinions, or kind of like you're going to kind of immersing yourself in this world. I think that's one of the big things. I think also kind of like halfway through that phase 1, there's going to be a moment in time where you go, uh-oh, I can't do this forever. I can't maintain this intensity, this lifestyle forever. Like, am I on the right path if I can't continue to do this? And I felt like that for me is like, okay, it's 3 weeks into my phase 1. I've eaten the same thing every Monday night. I've eaten the same thing every Tuesday night. My workouts have been pretty similar. Like, do I need to make a change? Do I get some sort of off-plan day, whatever that looks like? I also think that in phase 1, it's more important to have higher intensity rather than sustainability. So I think that you're like, if you are experiencing that, like, I don't know if I can sustain this, that's okay. That's a good spot to be for phase 1, because I think that momentum is more important than moderation. Phase 1, you're trying to get that momentum and try to really get some good results. Momentum is more important than moderation. How long do you feel like phase 1 lasts for most of your clients, people you work with?
It depends on the phases we go through, you know, what particular, but I've always found like that, you know, depending on the person, if we're going really hard, because you can't go hard for too long, 30 days, 14 depends on the situation, 2 weeks to 4 weeks, but usually 2 weeks is a very intensity mindset. And then we follow up with a little bit more intense, but a little bit less, if you will, in terms of getting after it. But I mean, you can only be intense for so long, depending on the intensity you're putting in phase one. And I think, in your case, like everyone has different forms of intensity, but the more intense you are, it's like sprinting. If I had to go sprint from here to my grocery store that's next to me, I ain't lasting that long. I'm going to die half the quarter there if I'm just sprinting the entire time. Right. But I can sprint and say, okay, once I get to the end of the street, a quarter mile from here or whatever, right, I can make it there and sprint. Right. And I think sometimes what you're saying and sometimes knowing when you are in that intensity stage, having an endpoint is good to have. Because if you don't have an endpoint, then you're going to question out, like if I had a sprint, you just said sprint until I tell you to stop. If I don't have an endpoint, I'm not going to last long.
Totally. Yeah. So that's definitely one of the tips I wanted to give about phase one is don't just go into phase one and be like, I'm going to do this forever. So like maybe you love doing a keto or a carnivore or a really low carb diet or something like that, but it's maybe not the most sustainable for you long-term. You don't need to have the forever mindset on this. Okay. So it's a great way to just jump in and be like, hey, I'm going to do this for a certain amount of time and then back off. The way I've been doing with my clients and seeing a lot of success is I do a 2-week, what I call a low carb reset. So basically just helping people get fat adapted over 2 weeks, really do the glycogen depletion workouts, make sure that their body is ready to burn fat. Because you can't just go burn fat. You have to break that fat down, pull it out of the cells before you can burn it. So that's what we're doing with becoming fat adapted, doing the low carb reset. And I'd put a 2-week window on that for most people. Some people will go a little bit longer if they have a little bit less stress in their life, but I'm like being like, here's a 2-week window. And then we back it off a little bit. We add in, I kind of go from a hardcore, like real low carb to a more of a carb backloading, give them some ability to have some carbohydrates in the PM. And then I do a 4-week version of that then. So it ends up being, you could call it between like 2 and 6 weeks for most people, but I kind of back it off. So I'm lumping that all into like phase one still. So I think somewhere between 2 and 6 weeks is about plenty. 6 weeks on the high end for a lot of us. And that brings us to the next phase 2. I think that phase 2 is fun because it's getting into more of like the lifestyle piece. Because like you said, it's like, okay, Kyle, I'm going to race you down to the store. I'm going to race you down to the block, whatever else. You can sprint there, but you can't keep it up forever. Okay. You got to find that pace that matches your abilities, your lifestyle, your goals. Right.
And I think that's pace too, right? Because if you know where you're going, then just like they say with runners, when you're competing, if you have to run a 1600 meter race, well, you have 600 meters. So you know how to pace yourself and when to kick in and when to really, versus just everyone go run and we'll tell you to stop. Then you have no framework on how to pace.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that like everyone's pace is going to be a little bit different based on a couple of factors, your ability to recover, your stress levels in your life, how often you can train versus do cardio, what your tolerance is for eating the same foods over and over again. Like there's a lot of little factors that come into place. And I think one of the tips for phase 2 is making sure you understand what do you want, where are you going, and what are you willing to spend to get there? What are you willing to because everything has a cost associated with it, right? Whether it's an opportunity cost, a time cost, or something else, you have to pay for anything good in your life. So like, the cost of going for a walk is you don't get to watch Netflix during that time. You got to understand, like, are you willing to pay that price?
Right. Absolutely.
So some of the symptoms that I see, and let me know if you have any other ones you want to add to this, Kyle, but some of the symptoms I see of phase 2, this is what I think of as like a body composition and slow and steady progress. One of the symptoms is you're getting bored with your food. Maybe you're getting bored with your training. You might feel like, it's not working, or I'm stuck in a plateau. Might have said that to yourself. In phase 2, it's going to be more important to dial in your calendar than necessarily dial in a specific diet. I feel like in phase 2, sustainability is more important than intensity. We've kind of flip-flopped on that. Whereas phase 1, it's all about let's get momentum, let's get results. Phase 2 is like, all right, we can't keep that pace up, that frenetic energy up for a long time. How does this fit in with your lifestyle? How does this fit in with your work? How does this fit in with your family? Anything I missed there?
No, I think that's perfect. I think, you can sum that up with patience as well, right? I think in phase two, it's easy to lose patience, and we blame that on plateauing. We blame that on, well, this isn't working. I mean, how many times have you had clients say, well, what we're doing right now just is not working? And you're over here going, what are you talking about? It's not working. Like, you just want it to happen right away. You want phase one results in phase two, right?
Exactly. And that's another
But
thing is maintaining the expectations, the correct expectations, because you're not going to get phase one results in phase two.
but phase two is so vitally important. I believe most people struggle with. I think most people can do a hardcore diet for time. I mean, I've seen a lot of people do some hardcore diet for a short period of time, but how they follow through with that afterwards is what determines how they're going to keep going. And I think people lose sight of phase two, how important it is, because the scale doesn't come down as much, right? And
Totally.
they think they're failing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You like, we can white knuckle our way through things, but when it comes to creating sustainable long-term progress, things that are like just fit into our calendar. So it's like, hey, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I go to the gym in the morning and I work out. Like, those sorts of things are not sexy, right? Man, it's not sexy. Getting like eating the same foods, not sexy.
And it's not sexy. Like when you have, like you're talking about, your calendar is important in terms of, okay, if you're working out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, okay, you're going to meal prep on Sunday. Okay, you're going to do all these things. Like, that's a calendar driven mindset. And that is so unsexy, right? Because that requires me to continue the process and almost have, when you have that, when you feel like you're in a plateau or you feel like you have the patience, you have to have like almost like blind faith in it, right? You have to have faith in what you're doing. And I think it's very hard because calendar driven, we want to see immediate results. It's so
Cool.
hard.
I have a couple tips that might help you get through this, get through phase two a little bit easier. Number one is understand where you're at, set accurate expectations. Realize that the weight is going to fall off slower. In phase one, I love to see people dropping between like 8 and like 15 pounds in that first month or so. I think that's a great goal. After phase one, if we can get it like a pound to 2 pounds off per week, that is great. So if you're losing like between 4 and 8 pounds a month, like that's fantastic, but expect to see that slow down just a little bit. And then as long as you have those accurate expectations, awesome. Just keep it going.
Yeah.
The other thing is don't think about it in terms of like, I ate a salad, I did a workout, like where's my results? Think about how long can I keep this streak going? Phase two is all about streaks. Because like what'll happen is a lot of people, well, they'll give me like, I got a 5-day streak, Monday through Friday, killed it. Weekend, oh, I drank too much, I had a pizza, whatever else. And it kind of negates that streak. It makes it again, like now it's an uphill battle starting Monday morning. You know, if I had $1 for every time I heard that, I'd probably have several dollars. Maybe maybe even one Bitcoin. I don't even know. It depends on how much it costs today.
A lot. It's a lot.
But if you can get a streak going where you actually take it through the weekend and then roll it back into Monday, like that's when people start really seeing that, like, okay, I'm moving right now. I have momentum. I have sustainability. So don't think in terms of days, think in terms of streaks.
Yes. That's perfect. And two, like that's, yes, I think people can listen to that and if they can hold on to that, saying like, it's about a streak, right? And it's not about just being perfect, because you are going to have times where you mess up. And a lot of times when people mess up, they just say, screw it. Right. But one advice I heard years ago that stuck with me, and I try to tell people, is if you mess up for whatever reason, you're always one meal away from getting back on track. You're one meal away. That's the mindset going, well, crap, I didn't realize I was going to, eat all this, go to the diner with my wife and have 10 pancakes and, an omelet. And not that that's happened, and 5 biscuits, not that would ever happen. I wasn't expecting that. Right. And then my mind says, well, it was a Saturday morning, so I might as well just ruin the weekend. But the reality is, no, your next meal, if that's lunchtime, dinner time, whatever that is you getting back on track. And that's the unbeatable mindset.
Absolutely. I had a cream cheese stuffed French toast this weekend.
From where?
From my house. I literally made it.
That sounds really good. You made it?
Yeah. I'm going to make it again too, because it was bananas. It was so good.
Was there bananas on it?
No. I'm normally a pancake guy. I like to do pancakes for the kids in the morning. I mean, I'm counting myself as one of the kids. But we didn't have any mix, didn't have any flour. So I was like, well, I'll make some French toast. I'll whip up some breakfast right now. And then I just cut a little slit in it, slid a little cream cheese in there.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Ooh, I'm going to do it on like a little, like not ciabatta, like I'm going to get some really good bread next time, I think, and do it.
Oh, baby. That sounds really good.
It's really good. And you know what it is also? Not low carb. It's the opposite of that.
So it's not low carb and low fat? I thought that was just pure protein.
You can come up with a cream cheese stuffed French toast that's no carb, no fats.
Perfect. Well,
I'm in.
I'm on it.
I'm in for every day. I'll come to your house. I'll sweep. I don't care.
I think if you could somehow come across, if you were to invent that, it would probably make you shit 3 or 4 times in the next hour.
Oh yeah, it's like those
You'd have so
Haribo
much of
gummy
like the
bears.
fake sugars or what, that term that starts with an X.
Xylitol.
Yeah, to get that sweetness without the
Have you ever had the Haribo low zero sugar gummy bears?
Heard about them, read the reviews, but I haven't had them.
Ooh. If you guys want to spend some time on the internet in a place that's just going to make you laugh, hopefully you enjoy the podcast, but
It
also
makes you feel good about your life.
Go to Amazon, look up the Haribo sugar-free gummy bears and just read the reviews. It's incredible.
Where you're currently at.
It's incredible. Maybe I'll put I'm going to skip the show notes on this one. I'll just put the link to that in there. You'll get it. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So the last thing I want to say about phase 2 though, is like, people are always like, well, how do I know when I'm done with phase 2? And I have a way that I really like, because sometimes for people, it's like, oh, I hit a certain weight, or I look a certain way in the mirror, or I can see my abs the first time, or I got to the wedding day and whatever. And that's great. If that's where you're at, awesome. But if you're like, I don't exactly know how to know when I'm out of phase 2, here's the number that I like. Take your waistline measurement at your belly button, kind of the narrowest portion of your waist, your natural waist, so you're not getting any hip bones in there, any glutes. Where my thick people at? And then divide that number by your height. So waistline in inches divided by your height in inches. If you don't have a measuring tape, just take your headphones. If you still have a cord on the headphones, wrap that around your waist and then measure that with your garage measuring tape. And then the number we're looking for here is 0.46 or below. That is related to a lot of insulin sensitivity. It's related to decrease in fatty liver disease. It's related to the ability to be able to utilize carbohydrates more effectively for building muscle rather than fat storage. So if you don't know where to go, that is a great way to a great place to point your compass at, so you know where you're headed. So you can always measure that in between. But if it's 0.47 or above, we want to drop that number down. Waist to height ratio. You heard it here first. I like to call it your burn score. It kind of grades how well you can burn carbs. Getting into phase 3 though, phase 3 fun. And a lot of people don't get there. A lot of people don't make it through the phase 2. I always think of phase 2. There's this guy named Gustave Flaubert. He says, be regular and orderly in your life so you can be violent and original in your work. So I always think of phase 2 as kind of like, become regular, be ordinary, just get through these things. Stop trying to blow these up and go look for the newest shiny object here or this thing. And just so you can do the things in your family, in your time, in your relationships, in your finances, that actually makes a difference for you. Because at the end of the day, you're probably not extremely passionate about the macronutrients in cream cheese French toast like I am. So phase 3 though, phase 3 is
about that cream cheese French toast.
Yeah. Phase 3 is where the cream cheese French toast really comes in.
Okay. Nice.
So I feel like phase 3, that's all about the identity shift and making improvements. Phase 1 and phase 2, oftentimes we can be running away from insecurities. We can be doing a fear-based mindset where it's I just don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to look this way anymore. I don't want people to treat me this way anymore. And that's where I was always at. Of I think I need to be more have more muscles, have lower fat, different things like that. And I would, perceive that people had been judging you based on that. But phase 3 is where we stop running away from something and start looking towards the benefits. So rather than you're kind of, now you're dialed in, you have an identity shift in who you are. You're no longer the guy, people always used to be like, oh yeah, Nate, he's the human garbage disposal. Just, give him the food on your plate, reinforcing bad behaviors where that was kind of my, oh yeah, I eat a lot. That's who I am. I'm a big guy, I eat a lot. So changing the identity to being I'm a fitness guy. And honestly, that's something for me, a lot of that took being more vocal and being having a podcast and putting out blogs and things on YouTube. I'm held to a higher standard because I'm always talking about fitness and I put out a lot of content. So my identity shift had to accompany that. Not to say you have to become a fitness coach to hit phase 3. That was one thing that was helpful for me.
Yeah, I think too, like, just real quick to piggyback off that, like, yeah, like your identity for you is the fitness guy, and that's your identity as a coach. You put out content. But other people listening to this, they might not find fitness guy as their identity, but your identity can be the person that he works hard. He takes care of himself. He puts his family and everyone's in front, right? He does he makes the sacrifices needed to get where he wants to be. Because trust me, people are watching you if you're taking care of yourself. They are watching you. And they might make fun of you. Look at this guy not eating the French toast cream cheese, right? I've had that my whole life. I've struggled with it. People are like, oh, you're not going to eat that, Kyle? You're not going to eat that because you care about your fitness, right? And I struggled with it even from friends, but they were the same people behind closed doors going, Kyle, I need to lose weight. What do I need to do, right? And so, it's going, okay, well, your identity doesn't have to be all or nothing, but your identity is sacrifice, discipline, take care of yourself. And what that looks like for everyone is different, but you can't argue with that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. And like keeping in mind that, like you said, people are watching you, and it's not necessarily to be like, oh, people are watching you and judging you, but like someone looks up to you.
People are watching.
What does that person think about you? Are you inspiring them? Are you bringing people in your community and your family? Are you bringing them up with you? Do they look at you and go, man, my dad is awesome. He does what he says he's going to do. He shows up, and he's always available to be there for us because he has his health. He has his abilities. He's not confined to the couch. He doesn't get out of breath walking on a set of stairs. Like, do you inspiring the people around you? I think that's big.
So big, especially if you have family, like you're saying. If you have family, kids, they're 1000% looking up to you, whether they tell you that or not. Whether they say, I hate you in your face behind closed doors, they're looking at you. I mean, you have
kids catch more than they hear.
2-year-old, how's she, 2, 3?
Almost 4.
Ah!
Yeah.
Fine. 4. Anyway, I'm sure there's going to come a time where, you're going to have resistance, but I guarantee she's watching every little step you do.
And baby cheeks too. Baby cheeks due in a month.
Juicy cheeks.
No, not you. What about the baby? What are you going to name the baby?
Baby cheeks. I feel like baby cheeks is like my baby.
Anyway. That's right. Your baby is due when?
Oh, you're talking about my baby. I thought you were talking about your little guy.
No, I'm talking about baby
cheeks. Yeah,
my
baby. You're right. Baby cheeks. I thought you were referring to your kid as baby cheeks. I'm like, that's weird. But yeah,
no, that's your baby.
Yeah, baby cheeks is due in June. So, and I know right when she comes out in June, she's going to be watching me.
That's right.
And I have my eye on her. Okay. Even now, I think, she probably is listening.
She's listening in on this conversation for sure.
I think
you play this. Do you put the headphones for the podcast? Do you put it on Heather's belly? Like, listen to your old man.
Listen to your old man.
Listen to your old man talk about carbs.
Listen to your old man and look at him. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think about that a lot. It's when I'm my first kid, right? You have 2 now. I have 1 coming in. It really puts things in perspective quickly, right? Totally. You can talk about what you want your kid to be like. You can raise them and you can tell them what you want them to be, or you can show them. So
got to show them because they don't listen at all. But they watch everything.
I got to show them. So
yeah. So I think the symptoms of phase 3 is can be interesting because you can actually struggle in phase 3 because you have already hit a goal. You might be struggling to come up with a goal that's motivating for you. Phase 3 might also be tough because you're like, oh, I've already done X and Y, like I set out to do. Do I have to do Z? Do I have to take that to the next level? Do I have to start running Spartan races? For some people, yeah, that's a great option. A lot of us, though, that's probably not what we would ideally like to do, so figuring out how does our identity now interact with our health, our finances, our relationships, and our time. So kind of the four areas of your life that are the most important, and how does our new identity in fitness and health impact all that? So I think those are some things that can kind of get tied up. So coming up with a good goal that is not necessarily fitness oriented can also be a great way to transcend and move through phase 3.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else that you feel like did not get fleshed out completely of any of these phases? Any other pitfalls that people are going to hit?
Yeah. I think you hit it. I think you brought up a lot of good stuff. I think, I know we talked about it, but I just reiterate the importance of it is it's just the correct mindset when you're going through these phases. And that's part of setting expectations and also being real with yourself, right? You know, we've come across clients who are not patient and then they want to blame insert whatever. But the reality is sometimes it's like we all have different things in front of us. We all have different obstacles. So you can blame it or you can be about overcoming it, right? Because I don't know a single person who has lost weight for a significant amount of time and actually changed, right? I think we're all after change. We're not just, oh, I want to lose 5 or 10 pounds. Like you're saying, we want to lose weight, but become something better, right? We want to become something better to who is around us, to our inner voice. We want to become better. And I think I don't know anyone who's done better in any field who hasn't had a discipline and had to be patient and had to fight for it. I mean, it really comes down to it. And it's usually fighting yourself. I hate to say it. You have to fight yourself. And you're always going to have.
You got to master yourself before you can do anything else.
Have to, because you're going to have, like you're talking about, there's always going to be like, oh, this is so boring. I mean, you know, it's, you hear it all the time. Oh, it's so boring. And, oh, I got to eat this. It's like, I know you want to eat something different every night. And I know you want to eat like your friends who eat a large pizza, but I always tell them, but is that what you want to be about? Like, look at them, right? Look at the people you follow. Are you following the same trajectory as these people who you don't want to be? Then don't do it. It's that simple. If someone's high in debt and they're giving you financial advice and they're $100,000 in debt, are you listening to them? No. You're going to be like, I'm sorry, I'm going to go somewhere who's actually mastered their finances. And I'm going to work myself to do that. So anyway, that's the only thing. I think all phases are important, but having that right mindset.
Yeah, I agree though. And self-mastery is I think the key to all of this stuff. Self-mastery and patience, because like nothing is like, if it sounds too good to be true, it is always. I've never seen something where it sounds too good to be true and then ended up being like, wow, and I ended up winning a cruise, just like the ad said. Local singles in my area looking around right now.
Yeah.
Personal trainers hate him because he gets results in 6 minutes. Not 8 minutes abs, 7-minute abs.
Best scene, I think one of the funniest scenes ever is that scene from Something About Mary. When he does 8-minute abs, he goes, I'm going to come up with something 7-minute abs. And Vince Miller's like, well, what if someone comes up with 6 minutes? He just looks at him like, that can't be done, man. That's impossible.
You need at least 7 minutes. Just trust me.
You sound stupid right now. You can't do it in 6 minutes. That's so good.
Mr. Cheeks, what a pleasure it's been. Thank you for being on the show. Good to see you again. Let's do this again next week. What do you think?
I'll think about it.
All right. Yeah, you get back to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.